Hi, this is Dr. Pike again for LDR330 Week 3, and we're going to be getting into the Strengths-Based Leadership book by Tom Rath. And this is part 2, and it has to do with maximizing your team. So, we begin, effective leaders surround themselves with the right people and build on each person's strength. However, in most cases, leadership teams are a product of circumstance more than design. Leadership teams consist of team members who were selected based primarily on the knowledge rather than their strengths that complement those of the existing leadership team. The age-old dilemma is when a CEO continues to promote people who agree with him and have a similar background and similar personality, you get what's known as groupthink. Israeli President Shimon Peres expressed his opinion on this dilemma. You have to distinguish between loyalty and brilliance. Most leaders prefer loyalty over brilliance. They're afraid that they're going to be undercut by those people that may have a differing opinion or idea. What makes a great leadership team? Extensive research by Gallup found 4 distinct domains of leadership strength emerge: executing, influencing, relationship building, strategic thinking. These all benefit a team to have representations of each of these strengths. The 34 StrengthsFinder themes naturally cluster into these 4 domains. Leaders with dominant strength in this domain include traits like know how to make things happen, work tirelessly to implement a solution, the ability to catch an idea and make it into a reality. Example, a leader will use his or her achiever theme to work tirelessly towards a goal. Leaders with dominant strength in this domain include traits like help their team reach a broader audience, always selling the team's ideas inside and outside the organization. A leader with a lot of self-assurance may use few words, but their confidence will continue to project authorities and win followers. Relationship building. Leaders with dominant strength in this domain include traits like act like glue to hold the team together. They have the ability to create groups and organizations that are much greater than the sum of their parts. An example of this is a leader with a strong relator may be a great mentor and guide as they push others towards bigger and better achievements. In the strategic thinking domain, they keep us all focused on what could be, constantly absorbing and analyzing information and helping the team make better decisions. They stretch our thinking for the future. A leader using context might explain how past events influence present circumstances. Top 5 strengths: achiever, executing theme; competition, responsibility is also an executing theme; relator, strategic is also an executing theme. In 1988, while searching for a thesis topic as a senior at Princeton, Cobb discovered the topic of educational inequity. In 1989, after continuing her research on educational inequity and discussing with fellow students, Cobb felt the need to take action by creating a National Teacher Corps, modeled after the Peace Corps. By herself, Cobb built her core team of the brightest people she knew. Regardless of daunting challenges, over the course of a year, Cobb managed to build Teach for America from scratch, raised $2.5 million and conducted orientation for the first 500 members. 2 decades later, in 2008, Kopp remains passionate for her cause and is never fully content with where things are. Simon Cooper, president for the Ritz-Carlton, identified the top 5 strengths: maximizer, woo, arranger, activator, and significance. These are more influencing themes. Cooper was taking over the leadership and was expected to bring the organization to a new level of excellence. He was focused on expanding the Ritz-Carlton's global influence rather than to remake the brand. His first major initiative was guest engagement, as he studied what the customers already loved and sought to maximize. Cooper's second major initiative was creating lifelong guests, and he did so by selling private residences, regardless of the reporters' negative backlash. Cooper's influence is not about maximizing one of the world's greatest bands for selling profit records. Rather, his talent for influencing serves as greater purposes for running an organization upon which the well-being of more than 40,000 families depend upon. Mervyn Davies, the chairman of Standard Chartered Bank, includes among his top 5 strengths achiever, futuristic, positivity, relator, and learner. And these are relationship building themes overall. Davies differed from the other bank CEOs as he focused on where the world markets would be years ahead, diversifying throughout less popular countries and investing more time in his people. As the CEO, Davies built an extremely diverse leadership team composed of people with vastly different backgrounds and personalities. He believed that he had to ensure that the bank's leadership group was as diverse as the customers it served. Davies was aware of his own strengths and set about to surround himself with people who could do specific things much better than he could. Davies quickly formed relationships with business partners, customers, and employees because of his efforts. Brad Anderson, the CEO of Best Buy, believes that his strengths include context, ideation, input, learner, and correctedness. And these are predominantly strategic thinking themes. Anderson took an unknown regional electronics store and helped grow it into the largest consumer electronics retailer in America. Anderson struggled with his poor grades in high school, but thrived in college, where he was able to open his mind and study topics of his choice. By 1983, the small electronics retailer Best Buy had 7 stores. By 86, Anderson joined the company's board of directors. By 91, Anderson was named Best Buy's president and continued to think and act outside the box. Anderson achieved this by going outside the box and attending non-electronic conferences and read a book on every genre. Anderson surrounded himself with leaders who he knew he could challenge his thinking. The collective talent of a team. From the previous stories of the 4 leaders, it is evident that they have exceptional clarity about who they are and who they are not. With this in mind, these leaders are their ability to develop teams with the right strengths. What strong teams have in common? Conflict doesn't destroy strong teams because strong teams focus on results. Now, there is a period of coming together, and this needs to be discussed, and it's discussed in other courses in the leadership vein, in that you have these periods of forming, storming, norming, and performing. When you come together, the team figures out who they are. When you come together, you're going to no differences, and those differences can create inner conflicts in the team. So that creates the storming. Norming is establishing rules for behaviors to not alienate others. And so when you create norms, you create rules for coming together. Performing is the last of the steps in this, in that these strong teams come together and they're put together for their strengths, but what you want to make sure that you don't do is you don't alienate them and they're able to achieve. A distinguishing trait between strong teams and dysfunctional teams is that debate and conflict do not weaken them. In the examples that I gave you before, they are going to come together, they're going to learn about one another, and they're going to figure out a way to achieve. Rather, successful teams embrace different viewpoints and do not personalize disagreement. Strong teams prioritize what is best for the organization and then move forward. The best teams are able to keep the large goal in view. Members of strong teams are as committed to their personal lives as they are to their work. Successful teams have extremely productive and dedicated team members equally to their work, family, social, and community life. Strong teams embrace diversity. The most engaged teams welcome diversity of age, gender, and race. These teams focus on the natural strengths, not on physical characteristics. Strong teams are magnets for talent. Potential stars see top teams as the most stimulating place to be. They can demonstrate their relationship and have a genuine impact. Building a strong team requires time and effort. The leader must continue to invest in each individual's strength to better build relationships among group members. And that is the end of our lecture. I wish you great success in week 3, and I cannot wait to read your work. Have a great week.